All right. Welcome back for another deep dive, everyone. Today we're going headfirst into Italian grammar.
I like it. Always exciting.
It can be a wild ride sometimes,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things that that tends to trip people up, I know it did for me when I was first learning Italian, is the past tense.
Right.
And specifically the passato prossimo. And even more specifically, how do we know when to use avere and when to use essere?
With the past participle, it's a big one, yeah.
Absolutely. And you sent over some amazing notes that really break this down. You've been working with your Italian grammar materials, and it looks like you've got a great list of verbs here, examples.
Yeah.
So we're talking like mangiare, leggere, scrivere.
Oishi.
Classics, those ones.
The essential.
But then you also have andare, arrivare, ristere, those kind of like more motion-related verbs.
Exactly, yeah. Verbs of motion.
So we're gonna really unlock this avere versus essere mystery.
Exactly. And it really boils down to like a fundamental concept in not just Italian grammar, but like grammar in general, which is the verb transitive or intransitive?
Right.
That's really what it comes down to.
And your notes do such a good job of explaining how for transitive verbs, the rule is actually pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Because transitive verbs, it's all about the action being directed at something.
Yeah.
So if we think, what did Carla eat?
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti, exactly. There you go. You need that object. Mangiare, to eat, needs to have something to eat.
Yeah.
And so the rule is, with passato prossimo, transitive verbs, avere.
Avere. Always. Always avere. All the time. It's like, okay, transitive verb, avere, boom, done. No stress.
Straightforward.
Carla ha mangiato gli spaghetti? Carla ate the spaghetti? We're good?
Perfect.
Moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now the intransitive verbs.
This is where things get dicey.
A little bit trickier because intransitive verbs are often expressing like a movement or a change of state or an action that really just involves the subject itself.
Right.
So you think of like, I went, she arrived, the music played, like those kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
And a lot of times these verbs are going to use essere. That's going to be their kind of, their sidekick in the passato prossimo.
Right.
So instead of saying like, I ate to the Uffizi gallery.
Oh, which I've totally done, by the way.
Yeah, not literally.
Right, not literally, but in spirit, you would say like, sono andato ai Uffizi. I went to the Uffizi gallery. It's about the movement itself.
Exactly. And then we have, of course, those lovely reflexive verbs like svegliarsi, to wake oneself up. And those, as your notes point out, always intransitive, always paired with essere.
Always.
And for me, one of those things that like early on when I was learning Italian, it just wasn't clicking. And then I was like, wait a minute, these are all actions you do to yourself. So mi sono svegliato alle 8. I woke myself up at 8, as opposed to like I woke somebody else up, in which case.
Exactly. And I think that's such a good point, because when we're talking about reflexive verbs, we're really talking about like the action reflecting back on the subject.
Yes.
So, and I think your notes do a really good job of kind of like putting that attenzione section in there.
The attenzione.
Because Italian grammar is very elegant, but there are always a few curveballs.
Oh, wouldn't be Italian without it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's great that your notes highlight this.
Yes. I was very happy to see that because it's like you can get lulled into this sense of, okay, I'm getting this, and then you're like, wait, what? There's these exceptions.
Always exceptions.
Always. And they're important. But so we have these verbs that they look like they could be intransitive, but they actually still use avere in the passato prossimo.
They do.
And this is what we're talking about, like viaggiare, to travel, camminare, to walk, nuotare, to swim. Like I'm already seeing like a theme here kind of with these verbs.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that they often describe actions that happen over a period of time that are continuous or repeated, Yeah. So it's not just, you don't just travel in like one instant. It's a journey, right? Walking implies, more than one step. Swimming usually means you're doing more than one stroke, right? Yeah. So it has that kind of like durative aspect to it.
That is such a helpful way to think about it. Because it's like a mental shortcut for me. Like if I can picture the action kind of stretching out over time, it's probably one of these severe exceptions.
Exactly. It's a really, really useful way to kind of like, put those verbs in that category.
Absolutely. Now, there is one more verb that we do have to talk about, and it's almost its own category, which is piacere, to like.
Piacere, yes.
Yes.
Because
it's a tricky one.
It can be.
It's a tricky one because, with piacere, what we really have to pay attention to is the subject-verb agreement.
Right.
And what's interesting is that the auxiliary verb with piacere has to agree with the subject, not the thing being liked.
Oh, okay.
So in the present tense, you would say, like, mi piace la pizza. I like pizza, right?
Right.
But in the past tense, it becomes mi è piaciuta la pizza.
Huh?
I like the pizza.
Okay.
And that might seem a little strange at first, but if you think about it, you're really saying pizza was liked by me.
So the past participle has to agree with la pizza.
Oh. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little
mind-bendy.
It's a mind-bendy one, yeah.
I have to say, hearing you explain it like that, I'm like, oh, light bulb. Because I always, like, every time I see piacere, I'm always just like, wait, hold on, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But knowing that little thing about, like, that agreement is with the pizza, it makes so much more sense.
Exactly. It's all about that agreement, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so for everyone out there who is on this Italian language journey with us, I want to leave you with this. Now that we've, kind of gotten a little bit deeper into these transitive and intransitive verbs and those quirky little exceptions.
Those curveballs. Yes. How does that change the way that you approach speaking and writing in the passato prossimo? Right. Does it give you a little bit more confidence knowing that you have those grammar rules under your belt?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
好，那我们来看一下前面这段英文的播客啊，它讲的一个什么内容？这里面呢，其实主要就是那个意大利语的发音呢稍微有点怪啊，但其他的都很好啊。他们谈论的呢是意大利语当中动词的 passato prossimo， 就是近过去时，分3部分哈。第一部分呢是说到及物动词的近过去时。及物动词呢，它是回答谁和什么的问题，所以呢，我们要用 avere 做助动词。第二部分呢是讲的不及物动词的近过去时。不及物动词呢，它是没有办法回答谁和什么的问题，也就是说它没有直接的宾语。这一类动词呢，我们一般使用 essere 做助动词。需要注意的是哈，用 essere 做助动词的过去分词呢，它们要根据主语保持性数搭配啊。这一类词呢，通常都是表示移动、表示状态、表示变化的词。还有反身动词啊，也说到了这个加了 resi 的这一类动词，它的这个近过去时在变化的过程当中呢，也是要用 essere 做助动词啊。那第3部分呢，就是说了一些例外的情况和特殊动词。那有一部分动词呢，它是既可以使用 avere 做助动词，同时呢，它也可以使用 essere 做助动词。再就是特殊动词，这里讲到的是 piacere 这个动词，它是一个使动词啊，是使喜欢。那这个动词呢，我们也是需要用 essere 做助动词的。